And I asked for a topic and you gave it to me. It was provision. So we're going to talk today about provision. Let me encourage you about this. The key to provision is understanding what provision is. Most people associate provision with money. So you can provide, right? And in America, we're obsessed with chasing money. Little do people know that if you stop chasing money, money can start chasing you. I'll say it again. If you stop chasing money, money can start chasing you. And I know that firsthand. When you're chasing money, you're not coming from a place of strength, but a place of desperation, If you fell for the lie of this culture, this shallow culture, I've heard it said before that a victim with this culture is out of shape, in debt, addicted, with a house full of junk. Thank you, Sherry Todd, for that quote. Well, it's true. Think about it. Everyone is in a mode of escapism, it seems, You you buy gifts for people who have everything, to impress people you don't even like, right? It's just an endless cycle. This culture is jacked up, but it is possible for you to provide a wonderful life and to even enjoy prosperity if you understand, first and foremost, what provision is. Well, provision is provision. You're looking on the horizon. You're looking on what is to come, like a warrior, protecting your family. You're providing provision. What's on the horizon. I want to provide the necessities for my family, but I also want to provide an atmosphere where there is love, there is safety, where there's joy, where there's happiness, where dreams can flourish, where prosperity can happen as well, where there's clarity of mind, where there's peace. Well, provision begins with understanding what provision is, and then it begins with you actually providing the atmosphere and providing yourself with a mindset that has the clarity to see the opportunities that are already laid out for you. You have a destiny. You think you were born to pay bills and die? No. You were born with a destiny. God didn't put you on this earth to just work a job you hate and pay bills till you die so that your child can go to college and get a job they hate so they can pay bills until they die. That's not the purpose of life. That's a lie, folks. You were born for greatness. You were born for a purpose. You were born to love people, to walk in love. You were born to be fruitful. You were born to impact the lives of others in the most positive way. So you need to provide yourself and your family with an atmosphere where true provision can happen. It's a cycle. It's a positive cycle, a legacy of positive, emotional, spiritual, physical, even monetary provision. But it begins with your mindset. So provision is so much more than money. You're looking on what is to come. You're looking ahead. You're being wise, for those who admire the scripture about the Proverbs woman, that she provides. She laughs at the days to come because she is prepared. Well, provision is being prepared. Okay, so with that said, let's talk about this chasing money and having money chase you. When you're chasing money for money's sake, you self-sabotage because you sell yourself short. You're coming from a place of desperation, or maybe a place of escapism, maybe a place of misery. Think about it. If people have money for money's sake, when is enough enough? David Rockefeller was once asked, how much money is enough? And his answer was, just a little bit more. If you're chasing money for money's sake, you're not chasing provision. You're chasing money. And money in of itself, man, there's no joy in that. You know how I know? I've worked with a lot of millionaires. Some who hate money. They even told me, I hate money. I don't have any friends. People just want me for my money. The more money you have, the more stuff you have. That means the more things you have to take care of. But then I know millionaires who understand that money is a tool to do great things. It's not meant to just sit on and greed. It's been said that money is like manure. you spread it over a field and you reap a harvest. But if you let it sit in a pile, it just begins to stink. Well, it's true, folks. Provision is so much more than money. But talking about money, think about it. Think about all the celebrities. They have all the money they could ever dream of. So why do they get into addiction and self-destructive behavior? It's because they bought into the lie to have all the things this world says you have to have. And so when they achieve that level of success, or so they think, and they reach the top of the mountain of success, quote unquote, they look over the edge and there's nothing there. That's because they didn't understand that money was not success in of itself. It was just a means to an end. And it should be a tool for great things, but money for money's sake is empty. You can't buy joy on Amazon. The best things in life are free. So many people, so many celebrities who have achieved wealth and riches and fame have lost the most basic of things. How they would love to trade places with that mechanic down the street that gets to go home to his family, sleep in his own bed, and be with his wife and children on Saturday. We take for granted so much, folks. But provision, there's people who worry too much about money, and there's people who worry too little about money. But I think a good balanced person will understand that money is only a part of provision. Money is a tool to help you provide the life of joy and love and fulfillment and grace and legacy that really makes you happy. And we talked about that in the last segment about happiness. True happiness is joy that's not dependent upon circumstances. Some of you are struggling with provision. There's a reason why, and you have to find out what that is. With everything that I encourage you to do, you stop the world. You take an honest assessment of where you are. What are you doing that's working? What are you doing that's not working? Some of the best people in the world doing the most wonderful, most noble of causes are often the most underfunded. They don't want to ask for money to help them do certain types of charities. And, well, folks, you have not because you ask not, Don't confuse a lack of provision with a lack of God's love for you or your worthiness. Sometimes it's something as simple as stopping the world and applying some common sense. I've seen people sit on their butt and say, well, God will provide, and they don't do anything. Well, guess what? For those of you who believe in God, for those of you who believe in creation, the first thing he did when he created Adam is he gave him a job. Men are meant to work. Men are meant to produce something, to celebrate the creation of their being. Some of you don't have provision because you don't work for it. You're expecting someone to give it to you. Well, it's not how the world works, man. You reap what you sow. If you don't sow anything, you're not going to reap anything, right? With all that said, provision is looking ahead. And if you set your priorities right, for many of you, that will be your faith, whoever that faith is in, your faith, your family, your friends, your country, your occupation. If you set right your priorities, then decisions seem to make up themselves. In my life, I've built homes. I've had plenty of money. There was a time in my life I had every material thing you could ever think of. I was miserable. The point is, you can have all these material things and be miserable. It's because your priorities weren't right. It's because you weren't coming from a place of strength. It's because your provision you thought was just money or materialism, But provision is looking ahead, having the mindset to recognize what has been laid out before you. Everyone has a destiny. When you stop the world and you ask yourself, what am I doing that's working? What am I doing that's not working? Do I have the mindset and the determination to do what it takes? Robert Kiyosaki, in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, talks about that. His father made millions of dollars, but at the end of the month, he was broke. His ego was writing checks that his checkbook couldn't cash, So many people live above their means, and I've seen people live above their means and expect the world to give them something. Let me tell you something. Let me provide you with some perspective and provision. Number one, the world doesn't owe you anything. I'll say it again. The world doesn't owe you anything. Nobody owes you nothing. And that's why if you work hard to provide an atmosphere for your family, your wife, your children, your coworkers, those whom you lead, there's a difference between the gift of leadership and the title of leadership. That's a whole nother segment and series. But folks, provision begins with your mind. It begins with understanding you're looking ahead for the days to come. It means that you stop the world and you ask yourself what is working, what is not working. Where am I right now? Are you in poverty? Can you not pay your bills? Are you struggling? I've known people who have millions of dollars, but they don't even have $50 in their pocket to give to somebody in need because their money's so tied up from the fear of losing money because that's their provision. Money in of itself. Well, folks, you know what? There's somebody who takes care of the birds of the fields, and you are worth more. You are worth more than a bird. Those who know. Well, my encouragement to you is stop the world. Ask yourself where you are. Ask yourself what you're doing. Is it working? Is it not working? Ask yourself where you want to be. And then ask yourself what it's going to take to get there. Are you willing to do what it takes to provide? I've disassociated myself from people who kept calling me for money, but they didn't want to work. They didn't want to provide for their families. To me, such a man has no honor. And a man will always be angry if he is not providing something, if he's not working, if he's not celebrating the creation of his being. So folks, men, you're designed to work. You can work for yourself. You can work for someone else. At the end of the day, no matter what you say you are, an employee or self-employed, if you have a 1099 or a W-2, it doesn't matter. You're still working for yourself. You're still providing. You're still going to call in sick when you're sick. You're still going to miss work when there's a funeral. Well, folks, get the right mindset of provision, looking ahead, providing the atmosphere, providing yourself the atmosphere. If you're in a toxic work environment, you've gone as far as you can go, then what are you providing for yourself, right? What kind of provision are you providing for your family? If you've gone as far as you can go in a company, you can't go any further, well, you're limiting your provision. So stop the world. Ask yourself where you are. Ask yourself where you want to be. Be willing to do whatever it takes. My wife and I simplified our lives for 6 years to have the life we have. We have a great life and it has nothing to do with money and material things, but I can tell you that we stopped the world. We had the provision to see where things were going in this country. And we chose a mode of working that was recession-proof. And in 6 years' time, we built a wonderful life. Now, we have a wonderful life relationally together anyway, but we provide ourselves this atmosphere of fruitfulness and joy and love and peace and, yes, prosperity. But it started with knowing what provision was and providing what we needed to prosper. I hope this encourages you, folks. Have a great day. Friends, if you've been encouraged by today's segment, or maybe you've shared it with someone who needed encouragement, consider standing with me as I continue to buy your time and make TV shows and radio and podcasts and other various forms of these segments to encourage people in this hour. A lot of people being beat up right now, but folks, when you've been encouraged, there's nothing beyond your grasp. Together we can come together in the greatest country on the face of the earth. That's America. Use our freedom of speech. People help people who help people, and together we can help a whole lot of people. Let's do this together. I thank you. God bless you. I'll see you next time.